Hello all and welcome to the PMP exam changes that will be happening on the 16th of December 2019. This is Jamil Faraj. I will be talking about these changes for some minutes, so please pay me your attention. This is my information to contact me anytime. First of all, let's have a look on why the PMP exam is changing in 2019. Based on PMI document that had been published in June 2019, they outlined that the new exam will be changed from the 16th of December this year, 2019. These changes because everything in the world is changing. So our job as PMs or project managers also are changing, and on the other hand, or for years, the PMI conducts research to understand the impact of the trends. What are things going to? So the last round of this research was conducted in 2015, that is resulted to the current PMP exam content. So the current PMP exam content is considered since 2015. Now, the subject matter experts around the world have worked together with PMI to define the future of PMP. The result of this research was the publication of the new examination content outline that has been published in June 2019. So the exam changes will be effective by 16th of December 2019. To make sure that PMP holders can be confident that their certification has been developed according to the best practice of the test development. So these are the questions, the answers of why the exam is changing within the 3 or 4 months. So keep in your mind there are 3 more important days. The 13th of June 2019, which is in the past now, PMI was published a new PMP exam content outline. That indicates that of December 2019 will be the last day to sit for the current version of the exam, and the 16th of December will be the first day to sit for the new version of the PMP exam. This slide shows the document that have been published by PMI. You can download this document to know more about this exam changes. So I recommend you all to have this version of the PMP exam changes that have been published by the PMI in June 2019. Now, let's explain in more details what are the main differences between the current 2015 and the future or the new, which is 2019. On the current version of PMP exam, we have five domains. Domain 1 is initiating with percentage of 13% questions in the exam. So as you know, the exam consists of 200 questions. So the initiating questions are 6 or 26 questions in the exam. For the domain 2, which is planning, it consists of 24%, which means 48 questions in the exam as a total. And domain 3 is execution, which consists of 31%, which equals to 62 questions out of 200 questions, the total number of the exam. And domain 4 is monitoring and controlling, consists to 25%. The monitoring and controlling questions number are around 50 questions in the exam. And lastly, the domain 5, which is closing, it is 7%. In other words, 14 questions of the exam. So the total of the domains were 5 domains. For the new exam that will be this year, by the end of this year, the domains will be only 3 domains. The first domain is people, the second domain is process, the third domain is business environment. So the people domain will have 14 tasks, which equals to 40% of the tasks, the whole tasks. Now we're talking about two different things, the number of tasks and the number of questions. For the first domain, the people, then we have 14 tasks that equals to 40% of the total tasks, which are 35 tasks. When we are talking about the exam questions, the people domain will form 42%. The second domain is process or processes. It consists of 17 tasks. Half of the tasks are in processes. And it contains only exact 50% of the questions in the exam, around 100 questions for the processes, and 84 questions will be for the people. The last one is business environment with 4 tasks only, equals to 100% number of tasks out of 35 tasks. On the other hand, the questions of business environment are 16 questions out of 200 questions, which is equal to 8% only of the total exam. Let's explain in more details. The PMI are focusing more and more to the soft skills that the project manager is expected to do or to play. So this is number one. And number two, the new version of the exam focus on agile project management. 50% of the questions, around 100 questions, will be focusing on the agile rather than the project life cycle that we know till now. So I recommend all of you to focus on agile to pass, inshallah, this exam. Now let's take the 3 domains in more details. Domain 1, people, which is dealing with people. It is 42% of the PMP exam questions. In other words, 84 questions out of 200 questions, and this reflects the how to deal with people in your project, either your team or the other people around your team. So we're talking here about how to deal with stakeholders, how to deal with team members, and this is one of the PMI talent triangle, 3 dimensions. The first dimension is leadership. It has 42% of all exam questions, and it consists of 14 tasks. The first task is manage conflict. The second task is lead a team. The third task is support team performance. The fourth one is empower team members and stakeholders. Number 5, ensure team members, stakeholders are adequately trained. Number 6, build a team. Number 7, address and remove impediments, obstacles, or any problems among the team. 8, negotiate project agreements. Number 9, collaborate with stakeholders. Number 10, build shared understanding among all stakeholders. Number 11, engage and support virtual teams, and this is a new to support international teams that are spread all over the world, and you may use virtual teams more than before. Number 12 is define team ground rules, and number 13, mentor relevant stakeholders, and the last one, number 14, is promote team performance through the application of emotional intelligence. And this is a new in the project management. Now we are talking about emotional intelligence, or IQ. The second domain, which is processes, I think from my point of view that this domain is the current domain, 5 domains that we are dealing with. So the 200 questions will be 100 questions and consist of 50% of the exam, and they added the people with 42% and the third domain with 8%, as I mentioned in the previous slide. So domain 2 processes consist of 17 tasks. The first one is execute project with the urgency required to deliver business value. It represents chapter 1 and chapter 2 in current PMBOK. Is the 6th edition will not be changed. It will remain as is. So it will be your source of information. Task number 2, manage communications, and it is, as you know, it is chapter 10, which is communication in current PMBOK 6th edition. Number 3, assess and manage risks, which is chapter 11, risk management. Number 4, engage stakeholders, which is number 13, stakeholder management. Number 5, plan and manage budget and resources, which are chapter 7, which is cost management, and number 9, which is resource management. The next is plan and manage schedule, which is number 6, schedule management. The next one, plan and manage quality, which is number 8, quality management. Plan and manage scope, which is chapter 5, which is scope management plan. The next is integrate project planning activities. Now we are talking about chapter 4, which is integration, project integration. The next is manage project changes. Project changes, part of integration and part of scope. So we will be, it reflects the chapter 4, which is integration, and chapter 5, which is scope. The next is manage project artifacts, chapters 4, 5, and 8. The next, determine appropriate project methodology and practice. This is mentioned in chapter 1, and plus the Agile Practice Guide. Now, I recommend you to focus on the Agile Practice Guide. It will be more and more important than before. The next is establish project governance structure, and I think mentioned the governance just in a hurry. So they will be focusing more and more on governance and managing project issues. That is mentioned also in the risk management plan, chapter 12, and ensure knowledge transfer for project continuity. Now, we have a new process that is called manage project knowledge in integration. I think it's number 4.4, manage project knowledge. The focus will be more and more on not only manage the knowledge itself, but transfer this knowledge and for project continuity, and therefore to business continuity for the whole organization or business. The last one, number 17, is plan and manage project phase closure or transitions. It is mentioned in chapter 2 and chapter 6. So these are all 17 tasks included in domain 2, which is processes. Let's have a look on the last domain, which is business environment. In total, I think they will be reactivate this triangle to make it more reliable and more practical during the exam, and to be more practical during practicing the real project management on your projects. So the third domain is very little, which is 4 tasks only. The first one is plan and manage projects compliance with others, either with government rules or with the best practice or organization rules. The second one, evaluate and deliver the project benefits and value. They didn't mention that the benefits of the project when we were talking about the program, not about the project itself. Number 3, evaluate and address external business environment changes for impact on scope. So we will now have a wider look to the external business environment changes that may affect the scope of our project. And the last one is support organizational changes, which is part of organizational process assets, OPA, that you know all. So let's compare, I'll have a mapping between the PMP Eco, the new PMP Eco, onto the PMBOK guide. So the list column represents the current chapters as is, which are 13 chapters. And we try here to reflect this chapter on the new eco that is consist in the tasks of domain 2 processes. So the first chapter is introduction. You can find introduction into tasks 13 and 15 of domain 2 processes. The second one is the environment in which project operates. It is in task 15. The third one is not mentioned. The fourth one, integration, is in tasks 9, 10, and 12. The scope, chapter 5, it is for tasks 8, 10, and 12. Chapter 6, the schedule, represented in task 6. Chapter 7, the cost management plan. Task 5, the chapter 8, quality management plan. Tasks 7 and 12, and etc. as you know in all chapters. Now, is this change good or bad? Let's tell you these good news. The first one is the current PMP exam or the future PMP exam that will use the same PMBOK guide edition, which is 6th edition. So no new edition. From my point of view, I see that the changes are not dramatic. They are relatively little and I expect to be minor, but focus on how to deal with people as a project manager and using the agile methodology in your projects. So these main topics that you have to focus to pass the exam. Number 3, increasing the role of predictive agile, as I mentioned. I think this is positive change. From my point of view, from my perspective, I think it is positive change and no concerns, because you have to focus not only on the PMBOK itself as a reference for preparation for the exam, other references maybe that is available in the market. On the top of that, you have the current PMBOK guide, not focusing in sufficiently on project governance and benefit management, team leadership, and soft skills of the project manager to communicate with all stakeholders. So this exam focus on these topics in more details. What are the consequences of the exam change on PMP exam seekers? The first consequence is the new PMP exam is bigger. How it will be bigger? The analysis shows that 70% of the current exam is now contained with domain 2, which is processes that I already mentioned. So the other 2 domains will be people and business environment may enlarge so that the content of the exam will be larger. Even though if the questions numbers will be the same, they will be focusing more and more on business environment and people and agile methodology. Consequence 2, agile is a must, as I mentioned before. And consequence 3, the new PMP exam may be harder because new topics are mentioned. Now we have this question. I'm studying for the PMP exam. What does all things mean for me? Now, if you are planning to pass the PMP exam before 15th of December 2019, you have no problem. But if you are planning to sit for the exam after that date, you have to plan how to take your plan of study aligned with the new changes that is expected to be. So my recommendation for you to adjust your plan and try your best to reschedule your exam to be before 15th of December 2019. This is my advice for you. If your time or your schedule is not allowing you to do that, so to study more and more and to take all the changes into consideration. Now the last slide, I mentioned some of the opinions. What are the experts in the project management? I took 2 samples. The first from Cornelius Fishner, my teacher. The second one is Nader Rad. Both of them are teachers and trainers, international speakers in project management. Mr. Cornelius Fishner said that he is considered that this is moving away from the 5 current technical domains and shift the focus of the exam to test the candidate's knowledge of project management and experience. So he is optimistic in this changes. And the other one, Mr. Nader, also he is focusing on that this exam, it doesn't mean that the new edition of PMBOK will be published soon. So thank you all for your listening, and hope this video tried to solve question what will be happening within December 2019 and what are the main changes. So please, if you have any question, send it to me either to my YouTube channel or using Twitter, which is Jamil Faraj, Jamil Faraj for both. Thank you all, and Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.